Hi, I'm Kris.
Hi, I'm Carl.
So we prepared our first concept art to Sprite in the game for the game we're working on, and we thought we would share the process. First, I drew it on paper. If you've watched some of our videos, you might have seen this. This is the ship. I scanned it at 600 DPI, but I was erasing the outline here. You can see where I already started. That checker background is transparency. Because I want the ship to be by itself and to be on many different backgrounds, I need to remove the paper surrounding the ship, because I didn't draw it on the computer. Yeah, so that's why I'm going in.
So cool. It's mesmerizing.
I use a drawing tablet, so I find this much easier. Sometimes if it's a simpler shape, I will make a duplicate of the layer, turn the contrast and brightness as much up as possible to try to get a solid black outline. So you can see here I'm trying to get a solid black. A lot of brushes will have some transparency built in on the edges. So I think I haven't gotten it yet. I'm struggling. Okay, yeah, so now you can see this is what in Photoshop is called a pencil. And a pencil is 100% black. There's no feathering at the edge. The edge is it's going to go from 100% black to 0% black. So you don't have any transparent edge colors, which is good for sprites, I think. At least it's good for these sprites. I think I end up taking those tailpipes off for now. We wanted to save some stuff to put in as upgrades. Oh, so here I'm trying to figure out, this is a 4K, this screen. That's how big we're going to make the game. So this is a 4K screen. And that's me trying to choose what size the final sprite is going to be. Yeah, and I choose that final sprite. And then I actually was using a pen tool to draw some lines here, which I had never done before. Yeah, so I ended up actually having to redo a lot of that black outline work once I made it small. Once I resized it to be the right size for the game. And that's what I'm doing here. And I have the light gray background. Even though this is on transparent, this is me using the pen tool to draw lines, which I'd never done before, but it worked really well. And I will definitely use it in the future. Yeah, so I have the light gray, so you can not only see where there's not a good black outline, but you can also see if there's any white outline, which is much harder to see than on that transparency checkerboard. This is the bottom thruster, which I haven't actually, I don't know how much we'll use that, if I'll take that off and it'll turn into a weapon or something. And then I don't know why I hung the gun underneath the ship instead of making it come out the nose like they always do.
Well, it could be an extra gun, because there is the gun that's on the beneath what is the windshield, right? That's attached to the ship, and that was an extra gun for shooting.
Yeah,
that one is an attachable one, all right? So those are the other ones are upgrades. I think even the one at the bottom. Did you keep the one at the bottom?
I just kept that front one.
Okay, I like the front one regardless.
Yeah, so I cut a couple of things off. We can add stuff back on. This is just a prototype still, although we really like it. This is me checking the size again. Now I've shrunk it down. That's the shrunken down one. So what I've actually done here is not only did I shrink it down, and I did two different versions. I shrunk it down to nearest neighbor to get a hard black outline, or a hard outline to go right from, solid image to transparent. So I used the nearest neighbor one as a way to make sure I had a hard edge around the outside. And then for the inside of the ship, I used best for reduction to preserve as much detail as possible in the internal drawing of the ship. Now, what I've done here is I've created a new layer and I draw on it and I just make it a multiply layer. For some of it, and then I do a second layer that's just straight color if I want something. Here I'm adding some rust, some detail. At this point I'm just cleaning up this vent, which I'm still not satisfied with, but I think it looks fine in the final version, or the version that's out right now. If you took it away,
I would miss it, so...
Yeah. I was really struggling, but I ended up making the nose red because that's what ships are supposed to have, is a red nose.
No.
This, I wasn't sure what I wanted to choose the color. Sometimes what I'll do there is I'll make it pink. I'll make it some bright color, and then I will go into hue and saturation. And that's why I changed it to yellow. And you can see what I'm doing there is I'm adding some purple to the edges of that canopy, the metal canopy, in order to just give it some three-dimensionalness, some detail, a little bit of shadow. This pink line, you see it here? Yeah. You see this pink line here? I did not know it was there. It haunted me for days after that. It kept appearing sometimes and disappearing other times. It's on a single layer, and oh my God, it's a nightmare. I finally got rid of it yesterday.
You finally found it, the source of the haunting.
It was so
you exercised
annoying.
it.
I had to go back in and it's just a stray brush. My pen rubbed up against the tablet by accident, and
Wild.
It's still there. I see it now. It's so obvious to me, but it's haunting me.
So
Carl and I really struggled to agree on how to rivet this piece to the ship. We were like, maybe we'll take the piece out. We tried riveting it just like the other rivets, which we thought looked good. I cut it down, and I was like, I'm just going to add more rust and make it thing. And that was me checking what the rivets looked like on the original before it was shrunken down. And I still was struggling. Yeah, so I struggled with that, and I figured I'm just going to work on something else. So I got some detail on the shadow, and I really didn't realize how weird this shape was on the bottle, what ended up being like a bottle gun. So I added that back piece. I really like that, like an exhaust. And yeah, I'm just going in and giving some three-dimensionality to it, making that look like the hood. And then I decide, I'll just bolt it on the corners.
Because that's how you would do it on the fly.
And I figured some of it would probably be welded anyway. Again, I did not know what to do. I wanted it, I think, to be white. So I was like, well, blue kind of gives you the thing of white. And then I decided it can't be blue because it's going to go up against mostly blue and dark backgrounds. Blue and black, cool backgrounds of space and stuff. So I'm really happy I went with orange because orange is it's the contrasting color of blue. Will help it pop and stand out from its background. Yeah, so I also, if you can see, I'm doing this work on this vent, and seeing it now, I'm like, oh, that looks great. I would have left it. But while I was working on it, I did not like any of the way it looked. I just couldn't get it to look right. And I can always go back and do it, but it's really funny how often I will, in the moment, not like any option, and then look back on it on a video.
And be like, oh, you had it.
Yeah.
You were right there.
And be like, oh, that looks great. It looks fine. It looks fine. I don't know why I did that. Yeah, I think that's everything. I think I covered everything you wanted to know.
Those are all my questions.
All right.